The thing you might want to find out before you go to the interview, are you being interviewed by one person or a panel of people, so that you're prepared? And if it's a panel, you want to know the names and the responsibilities of the people on the panel, so that you do research on the internet about the company so that you can ask them questions when you're in the interview. Because what the interviewers are looking at your interest in their organization. Did you do your homework? Did you find out something about them? Because usually at the end of an interview, they'll look at you and say, do you have any questions for us? And if you look at them and go, no, they're going to be like, well, did you not want to know, what the growth potential in the company is, why this opportunity's come up? So you really need to think about things like that. Other than that, I don't know the specifics of the person who asked the question, but it may come down to something you said or didn't say that they were looking for in the interview that makes a difference for you to move to the next level.
May I add an example? So for an example, in a behavioral interview, the interviewer is trying to assess you in terms of behavior. So any nuances, any experience around that you can share?
I'll give one example. So if they ask you to, give me a time when you had a project that went off track and it didn't go well and you had to correct it. Or give me an example when you had to deal with a difficult person. How did you deal with that? So when you give them the example, you'd have to think about, you have to set up the answer in such a way that you'd say, here's the situation that happened, here's the conflict that I ran into, and here's how I resolved it. Because you really need to tell them how you resolved it, because what they're listening for is your ability to problem solve, work with people, and correct the situation. If you just say, yeah, well, I worked with this person, they were really difficult and I didn't like them because they, were blah, 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 they're going to be listening to that and going, okay, that may not be such a good thing here, because you're being there's a difference between being direct and giving them too much information. Okay, so I think you need to really set the context for your difficult situation or for the behavioral question they're asking you, and always think in terms of, here's the circumstance or the scenario, here's the challenge that I ran into, and here's how I corrected it. Those are the three things you need to think about when you're giving the answer to those kinds of behavioral questions. I hope that helps.
Can I just add?
Yeah, please go ahead.
There was a question about resume, and then I'll go on to, if you're there.
Okay,
Somebody asked if your education should come first or your experience should come first. Hopefully you've looked at the job posting and you've looked at the requirements section. The requirements section, if you really read it, okay, it's based on the priority listing of the employer. So as you start off your resume, your objective is to apply for that position. So seeking a position as job title within the name, and if you have the name of the company, write the name of the company. Then you want to write the highlights of your skills and qualifications based on the priority that is listed on the requirements. Okay? There, you are in, you've got your interview. The first question most likely will be, tell me about yourself, like Maureen said. What is it that they really want to hear? They want to hear, are you a good fit for this position? Right? Your name, Amina Dolwani. Depends on the priority listing. If they had their first priority as experience, I have so many years of experience in Java development, considering it's a Java position. The second priority was education. This is my education. I specialize in these skills, and I'm here because I'm really interested in this company and the projects you've been working in. Pause. With a smile and confidence. Eye contact. Once you have built that, and they hear that you're here based on their priority listing, they're talking. You're involved in a conversation. Okay? An interviewer is just as nervous as an interviewee. Do you know why an interviewer is nervous? I have sweaty palms over here because I'm shaking. Oh gosh, I shouldn't say something wrong. You know, Ned's gonna get me. Or Maureen, my partner in crime, will kill me. But no, I'm shaking because I want to make sure that the information I'm giving you is reaching you. And if it is not reaching you, why is it not reaching you? Similarly, when you're having that conversation with the interviewer is shaking because they do not want to make the mistake of hiring a wrong person. To be in that position has taken them a while to get there. Okay? So once you start having a conversation with the other person, as a professional, you'll be involved and you'll be talking about that passion that you have. Him or her, the development of the product or getting the objective, and you want that job because that means so much to you.
Very interesting. May I add a few buzzwords? First, impression. If you get a chance of an impromptu conversation, first impression.
First impression.
And then I would say let's add a few more areas like elevator pitch. And then with the elevator pitch, so I think what you were sharing was almost around, all these buzzwords. First impression, if you get a chance in an impromptu conversation, or the elevator pitch that you should be ready with,
Yes.
contextually. So
Yes.
please carry on if you have to add something.
Let me tell you a story about the first impression. I teach about 150 students every semester. 4 out of 5 Humber IT programs. So I was teaching about first impressions and dress for success. And one of my students, must say he's Canadian, one of my students challenged me and said, if I go to Google for an interview and I'm dressed in a suit, I am not going to be entertained for an interview. I'm probably going to get rejected because I did not research the company enough. And I said, really? I contacted Laszlo Bock. Do you guys know who Laszlo Bock is? Anybody? Laszlo Bock is the vice president of People's Operation in Google. I emailed him and I said, Laszlo, I am a careers professor and this is what I teach and this is what I do. One of my students has asked me this question, will he be discredited or not entertained in an interview if he came wearing a suit, because that's not Google's culture. And he emailed me, and for those who want to see that email, you can email me and I'll forward it to you. He emailed me back and he said, this is a very interesting question. Nobody's ever asked me this before, but all of us have personal biases, okay? And even though you may not be rejected because you did not come professionally dressed, but you definitely will not get rejected wearing a suit. He said, Meena, you're 100% right. First impressions on how you present yourself, dress, cleanliness, and of course, mirroring the handshake matters a lot. So
Very
if
good.
he can tell me that.
Would you like to add, Maureen, on elevator pitch?
I was just going to say for the elevator pitch, I agree with Meena on the dress code. I don't care what the culture of the organization is. You can dress to the culture of the organization once you have the job. When you're not in the company yet, you still need to wear the suit, okay? And come appropriately dressed in business attire for your interview. Once you're in there, if they wear blue jeans and sweatshirts, you can do whatever you want to do once you're in there. But your job right now is you're on the outside. You need